From Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9, from the City Hall Council Chambers, it's time once again for the Taxpayers Hotline Show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host.
Hi, this is City Councilman Kaz Kwiatkowski, and we're going right to the phone line. Oop. Well, we cut somebody off. We had somebody come up, but we have a guest that came in here, and rather having him sit there, he can come up here if you like. We just had a phone call, but I don't know what happened there. How you doing?
Good. Still alive.
We got Ronnie Stemka, well-known as activist, I guess I call you. How you doing?
Good. We got a lot of things to jump into today, so.
Oh, go ahead until we get a phone call.
Let's get a phone call going here.
Yeah, we had one, but I don't know what happened. They can call back.
Yeah, I see we got a new guy going for a congressman here, the Democratic Party.
Yeah, there's usually a new one every year. Do you mean
You know his name?
LaValle?
LaValle, yeah.
If I know how to say it right.
Right. The guy's a great guy. I think we need a new congressman. He hasn't done nothing for 4 years. Out the doors. Take the vacation time. Take all the free money.
We try to keep it nonpartisan on here, so.
Well, I just want to get a plug-in for this one new guy.
But, yeah, we generally keep it nonpartisan, but I think the big thing is we got to get people to vote. That's what the main problem is.
I think if the people really woke up and started to get out there, I think we can get a lot of votes out there and we can see what's going on in this country. It's not no good.
I was joking with somebody. Maybe they ought to, you know how we close everything down? Maybe we ought to open everything up and give bonuses, actually. I mean, you hate to say that, but, I mean, trying to get people to vote now is getting to be a
hard thing. Why should they vote? Come to city council. I'm not picking on you or anybody, but people come down to city council, they talk. It's like talking to the wall.
But you know what?
No rebuttal whatsoever.
Well, that's the rules.
Who started that rule? I want to know who.
We had that same rule on school board. What that means is, and it's always been interpreted this way, that when the public speaks, and this happened in the past, I can remember when I was a young man, you would have open debate, okay?
I think it's a great idea.
Well, there's a time for debate, but not when citizens be heard because, go ahead, caller.
I was going to give you a few minutes, but I got to butt in when you said you are going according to rules. Whose rules are you going according to down there?
Well, council has their own set of rules and all councils and all school boards have it.
To have rules by, I forget who they're by, Roberts, I believe.
Well, Roberts is a general guide, but each governing body does have certain rules that they vote on. The time to change them now we'll be coming up on that shortly, and this will be my...
Rules except whoever the ruler is.
Well, I can make my presence felt when those rules come up again for renewal, and I will...
When will that renew?
That would be...
The man's saying.
That would be...
Who's helping out?
That will be... The council sets the rules, I believe, in December.
City council, you're one man.
Yeah, but you know what?
You could put a vote on the floor to change that amendment.
We change it. We change it when we do them. When we adopt the rules of council, which are done in open debate.
Well, you open debate. I don't see no open debate.
Well, here's what you have to tell me. You tell me, and so can John. Tell me what you'd like to see changed.
Well, there's a man that comes up here since. You know who he is. A guy comes up here since Bagnoni was live. And he come up here and he bleeds his heart out. And I'm sitting back there and I'm looking. And here's city council speaking to it and laughing about the guy. The guy's bleeding his heart out every meeting. I haven't seen him in a couple months. But he comes up and he bleeds his heart out. Now this guy's...
I try to show respect for everybody because that's the way... I've always felt that no matter how long it takes... Okay.
Right.
That's their time to,
It's a 5-minute time period.
And we should not interrupt them. Now, what we can do, and this is where I disagree with you a little bit, if they want to debate, okay, then they need to put it, I will gladly meet with them right after they get done speaking.
Let's say they want to get out and talk about like the man that's talking here. He's trying to talk, and
But here's the problem with the whole thing. If you allow council and school boards to debate, they're going to win the argument because they'll get the last word. Okay.
It doesn't matter if they get the last. If the person's getting their point over, that's all that counts.
from what I've seen, and this is why I voted, are you still there, John?
I'm still here.
Yeah, I've never voted to, when they wanted to move it to the end of the meeting, I don't like that idea.
No, 'cause
Okay?
people leave.
Because people have to leave sometimes. I don't like the, shutting people
That's
off.
abridgment of the First Amendment.
Right, I don't like shutting people off, okay?
Right.
But I believe it's their 5 minutes, okay? It's not our time to debate them, because when you get into the debate, it degenerates rather quickly. They need to make their point, and I went through the same thing when I was a citizen. Make your point, okay? And get it out there, and believe me, the press will cover you and everything else, but if you get into what happens generally is a shouting match, okay? And then they're gonna just shut you off because there's a time limit involved, okay?
Right, 5 minutes for
Yeah.
each person comes.
Nowhere in the world do they really, any meeting I've ever seen, do they allow debate, because it's just counterproductive. The thing to do is, and every citizen has this right. You can, public hearings, you have a right, okay, but during meetings, when they generally have public comments, that's for the public. It's
Right.
not for
Like
councilmen.
I said, he just sound like a broken record. Guy comes up here, he bleeds his heart out, and everybody stands up like, got a stupid look on their face.
But you see, here's the other thing too.
Now, we asked the guy on
Yeah.
the phone, what do you think about that? Get your opinion.
What I've been watching lately, I've been seeing selective dialogue, which is not right.
Well, that has to stop. I agree. See, I believe that when I was on the school board, we had a rule, and that rule was hard and fast. That rule was 5 minutes, no more.
Right.
Unless something happened that, took time away from your comments. And this was a hard and fast rule, and we were held to it. No debate between school directors and the public. No debate whatsoever. In other words,
Who brought this kind of?
well, wait a minute. That meant that if they come up there and attack you, okay? If they
Individual, right.
personally called you out, and they had rules against that too, they said, do not get personal. You can make a comment about somebody, but you don't sit there and say, you told me this, you did that, you did that, you did that. And they would, and you weren't allowed to defend yourself either. So it was 5 minutes, they had their say.
That's it.
There
Yeah.
shouldn't be any selective dialogue.
No, and John, we didn't have it on the school board. We really didn't. I mean,
Talking city council now, we don't care about the school board.
yeah, I'm saying, that's how it can work. And
Right, it should be no selective dialogue at all.
And I'm going to suggest that because I've seen occasion where
So-
I think certain people are allowed to talk a little longer, and you can't do that because, it is what it is. It's either a hard and fast rule or not,
That's true. I mean, but I wanted to get to a few other things here real quick.
Go ahead.
First of all, liens. How many liens do you have out there for the people that have not paid their garbage? Where has that gone?
Oh, that's not a dead issue. In fact, we asked at the last meeting about the progress. We were hoping that it would be, the final.
Well, the building's going to take a while.
Well, we were hoping that, we would have that done in the fourth quarter.
But
That was kind of a pipe dream, so
Well, yeah,
it looks like we're on schedule for next year.
that's true there,
Yeah.
but how many liens are out there now before this goes into effect? Any?
I can get you the list. Well, first of all, the list of delinquents is on the website.
Delinquents I have.
Yeah, that's on the
Doesn't
website.
matter, they gotta pay them, like the water department. How are they doing getting their money, delinquent on the water bills?
Well, they
What
shut
do
you
do?
off on the water
well, they
bill.
shut
On
you
the
off, yeah.
garbage, they don't.
Right.
Yeah, the garbage, this is why we want to get this, with the garbage, we want to get this in quick because I talked to a couple employees already and they're gearing up for what they know is going to be a rough time for a little bit.
Well, the reason I mention of liens, I see that the city solicitor is not doing his job properly. When he comes down with somebody that has a lien against him for 15 or 20 years, and he tells council that they should handle it, he's not doing his job.
Well, if you notice, the majority of council did not accept his recommendation.
True, but still, he's still not doing his job.
Well, one of the problems city council has is that, the solicitor works for all people on paper, but sometimes council does not have the same access.
Well, council can hire their own.
Well, that's something I've talked about for a while in the past. When I was controller, I suggested it to the late Jimmy Thompson. And at times, I think they did employ, some alternate attorneys and stuff. And I think long range, that's a suggestion. I've quietly talked to a lot of my colleagues trying to get some support for actually having council have
their own solicitor.
Yes, like anything else, there's 7 of us here, and I have to get 4 votes.
It makes sense you have your own solicitor.
Yeah, I'm saying publicly, I like the idea of council having their own solicitor.
Yeah,
I mean,
what would that cost?
Well, they
Wouldn't cost-
have a budget. Council has a budget too.
it wouldn't cost nothing if you carve, now I'll get debate from the administration on this, but if you're already budgeting for a solicitor's department, so you could assign easily one of the part-timers to council. But it would have to be specifically for council. And if that didn't go over, if they really didn't like that idea, we have a professional services account, okay, which takes into consideration, council in the past has, if you remember during the Flippy reign, they hired their own accountant.
They did.
Yes, because at the time we had all that trouble.
Yeah, you had an accountant from Florida.
The controller's office, myself, had to be independent. I could not take council's side or the mayor's side. So, suggestion was that council hire their own accountant to, drive their own set of numbers that they wanted, and that the controller's office would lend whatever help to either side, for fairness, that's what the controller can't take sides.
Let's jump along here real quick.
Yeah, but I agree with you, John. I think, long range, I will get you that list of liens that, they gave us a list a few months ago, the properties they had liened. And there's also another list, there's a list of, since the beginning of this campaign with garbage, there's another list of people that are making payments. If you notice, that's why a lot of the names have disappeared.
True.
A lot of them made arrangements now. So they do keep council updated, and the next time we meet with...
disappeared is because of Haran and the Section 8.
Right. Well, he did a nice thing by...
Sure he did.
a lot of people think in the paper we were misquoted as that's the only thing we're looking at. No, it's not. We're not just looking at, the Section 8 housing John volunteered that, in his own. We're after not only landlords but private people,
Now, they just trying to borrow $58 million for 13th and Beach here, and she said it was a public housing. That's money's for. That's $58 million.
Million came from the county.
What do you
Bond.
The new housing up there, they want to put more of those condos up on 13th and Beach. And Mr.
Oh, that is a private enterprise.
Yeah.
See, now they want,
That's Forest Rivers.
right, so they want to put public housing in there.
Well, they're looking for someone else to come in because
apparently.
it's going to be another white elephant.
Yeah, apparently they can't...
How many white elephants do we have in the city?
Well, I said this, and I think John agrees with me. That's the wrong place to put that.
That's right. That shouldn't be down there.
Put that down by the water-
We had the project, we had the juice plant, we had the mercantile building.
Put it down by the waterfront. You'll see how fast those homes sell.
We have the one on Parade Street yet, that's still a deadbeat.
By the underpass on Parade.
Put them on the bluff over the water. You'll see how fast they sell.
First part of the mayor puts her back as his economic development officer now.
Who's the development officer now?
They appointed a assistant, I think, right now, temporarily.
What is
Yeah,
that?
her assistant.
What's he do? Go to Pittsburgh or Philadelphia and trying to get jobs in there? You got to go to Texas, some big places,
What, you mean to advertise a
To
job?
bring work into this town.
It won't work because they have a plan that they're putting other places in their perspective, not Erie's perspective.
Okay, about 15 years ago, my daughter got married. Some of the big shots in Texas, Houston. My son-in-law's father was the president of Lexmark Printing Company, okay? The president of State Farm Insurance and other couple of CEOs. They all come to Erie. I took a couple of them for a ride. They loved Erie. They were never in this part of Erie, in this part of the country.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Ron, if you have any ideas. So I went to Bob Plain on the development back then, about 15 years ago. Bob Plain was developer. I said, Bob, I got a lot of people would like to buy the Commodore Downs. I have the money, and I got the assets. Let's get this going. He said, I'm going to tear it down and make an industrial park. What do you see? They tore it down, you got weeds growing.
Oh, you mean the old Commodore down?
The old Commodore Downs.
But there's only, UPS? Who's out there?
There's only one or two shops out there.
Yeah, UPS or somebody, or?
No, UPS is on Grandview.
And
What, there's something out there, I had to
the
go out there.
factory on the far end.
Isn't there FedEx out there or something?
There's a kennel out there.
No, it's
A
big
dog
shop.
kennel.
Oh, the dog.
There's something else out there,
shop
but
out there.
there was something else out there. I had to go out there once to pick something up.
Bob Plain, he just didn't have no idea. And there's people like in the city of Erie. Erie is big money. You know it as well as I do.
But we don't go out.
But these people, you got Erie's a distraught city. It really is, especially now when you get 25 to 30% increase in your schools.
Hey, my
kids are coming in, and that's 25 to 30% increase. They come into school, teacher standing. Who are you? Well, I don't know. I can't even speak
I'll
English.
let somebody else get in. I have one more thing, but I'll call back.
Okay. Oh, my parish priest, he was a prime example. He tried to get Applebee's to locate in the city.
Applebee.
The restaurant. I remember we were talking about this, and I was discussing how, we never get anything in Erie anymore. We don't.
These people that run the city, they don't want it in the city.
Well, it's not, but you know what?
But like on 12th in Pittsburgh, okay?
You have to go out and aggressively, okay? Like in the old days, it was automatic. When I was a kid, you woke up in the morning, and there was a new McDonald's, there was a new Kmart, okay? We'll get back to this. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, you're sidestepping the people that are the garbage fees, delinquent garbage fees and so on. You remember, 6-8 months ago?
Yeah.
You were going to go to the courthouse. You and an attorney or somebody were going to go and see if actually any liens were put against any of those properties. You remember that?
I have a request in for it, and I haven't got it yet.
What?
I don't have, I had a request put in for it, but I would probably, in fairness,
6 months later.
I know, you know what? I should probably go over there, and I haven't done it. So I agree with you.
Put that on the top of your list today.
In fact, Stemka, you'll make me, you'll go over with me.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go over. But it's not like we're not looking at it. I mean, we get a report, we're getting updated reports, and actually, a lot of the people have actually come forward. They've been removed from the list because there's now payment plans. And the other day, like I say, I talked to a water department employee who's going to be turning a lot of the houses off. They're preparing for a busy couple months.
They are?
Okay, yeah, because when this hits the fan.
Well, like I said, that guy in the water department.
Go ahead, let's let the guy. Go ahead, sir.
Could I talk?
Yeah,
Yes,
we're
go on,
going to let
go
you
on,
talk.
go
Go ahead.
I'm going to say another thing. Are you still there?
Yes.
When John makes sense and comes up with the legitimate remarks about what things wrong with the city of Erie, anything against the mayor, you stop the conversation and you switch the subject. Now you become somewhat articulate, but not good.
What do you mean, on what subject did I switch on the mayor?
He was going to have another question, and you kept him on the phone for a long time, so he decided to get off. So.
Well, he's calling right back.
Yeah, Mr. Stemka and I got in an argument. Well, Ronnie was getting some of his comments in, and John said he's going to call back. We're going to let him. But I'm not, believe me, if you want to look at my voting record, I've gone against the mayor on a lot of things. I respect the mayor's position, but I've never backed him 100% unless I thought he was right. You tell me a specific, and I'll be glad to defend my vote, pro or con, but I've gone against him on a number of occasions. I mean, if you want to, look it up. I mean, I'm not hiding my record. You know that.
Anyone that calls and says something demeaning or whatever to the mayor, you you have a limited, articulate way of switching the subject. You're in Allentown, someplace in Colorado or Philadelphia.
Well, give me an example right now.
Well, for God's sake, don't.
I mean, you call up and you make accusations. I mean, give me an example, and I will, right now, I'll give you a straight answer, and no one will cut you off.
A few minutes ago, I was talking about developing in Erie, but these guys, they're appointed now. He's going to go to Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. If you want jobs, you got to get out of the city. Go out to Texas, some of the big cities. Bring some of them big industries in Erie. Because when I was a kid, you could go on 12th Street, get good sustaining jobs, and you made good money. There was 12th Street this loaded with jobs, if you wanted to work.
I don't think we have the right people in economic development
We
now.
don't have the right people.
I mean, we should be out there. There's no reason why we're not out there aggressively pursuing. As I said a little while ago, my parish priest tried to get something to come to Erie. He got no help from City Hall, and that place eventually moved out to Harbor Creek, right over the border. Why is that? Why can't we draw business? We have to. If we get people in economic development.
On board?
Huh?
Am I still on board?
Yes.
You are.
Yeah, that's another thing, the citizen has a good point or whatever. You take over the conversation.
I'm not going to take it over. Give me a point right now. We won't talk. We're going to let you talk. Go ahead.
Yeah, am I still on?
Yeah, we're waiting for your comment. I mean, I've given. Nobody's talking now. Go ahead.
You admit you never went to the courthouse, and you said that a couple of times that you were going to the courthouse to find out if there was any actual against the garbage.
The garbage liens.
Yeah, the liens.
Yes, I admit I didn't go over. I said I didn't get a chance to go over there. I do know there are some liens. I don't have the exact list of them.
I think the guy upstairs told you, don't you dare even look at it.
No, he can't tell me. Look, council does not work. Sir, council does not answer to the mayor. Okay?
Well,
wait a minute. Now, let me tell you something.
Say something.
You made a comment
back
now.
it up because he's the only one.
There was nobody that supported me when I went after the ex-mayor. Nobody. I did that alone. I went after the ex-mayor. I put my job, my office at risk, and I went to court and fought him. I have disagreed with this. This mayor has never once asked me to change a vote for him. In fact, I went against him on, I'm trying to think of the last issue. It wasn't too long ago.
I'm not saying he asked you to change a vote. I'm asking you.
I have never supported him.
Didn't go. This is before you were city council person. This is last winter.
Yes,
or whatever. You were supposed to go to the courthouse.
Look, I'm a part-time person. I have other things in my life I have to do. I'm not going to explain to you why I didn't get over there. I didn't get over there. I admitted that to you. But it's not like we don't have liens. We do. I will get you the updated list. I'm going to have to make time. I'm not a full-time person. I don't have a city car. I do not have an expense account. I'm a part-time person.
You were a full-time employee for the city of Erie.
No, I wasn't. Not when I made that comment. I was a councilman. And when I do things, and Ronnie knows this maybe you don't, but when I get phone calls all day long, I do try to go out there and look at different ones. I usually spend most of my morning trying to answer phone calls. I only have a limited amount of time like anybody. I'm not making excuses. But, I've never, when I voted against the mayor, nobody ever says anything. When I vote for the mayor, then it's, they accuse you of vote. I have never, ever had consultation with this mayor on any issue, and he's never once come back and expressed any disappointment even when I voted against him. I don't defend him, I just won't, sometimes I think people make charges that they don't understand. I will correct him, to that, but that's it. If you think I'm wrong, that's your opinion. But you have the phone, so go ahead.
May I have just a few more minutes?
Yeah, you got it.
Come on, you got the floor.
I don't watch your program every week, but anytime somebody calls and has a complaint against the city or the mayor or whatever, you have a simple, articulate way of changing the subject. You're already in Allentown.
Well, I asked you to give me an example, and you haven't given me one.
Or whatever.
That's what he's asking for example.
I want an example. Just give me an example. One example of what I did.
You did.
Yeah, I mean, you're just saying I do this.
I'm not a guy just.
I tell you, personally, if it bothers you that much, there must be some specific time that I said something that when I bring Allentown in, I bring Allentown in because these are examples of towns that have gone the extra step. We haven't done that in Erie. We have not done it.
Erie's run by big people with big money. People like you and me, we're the average working man. We don't have no say what goes on. Like that Perry Centennial, a whole week. Hey, at 6 o'clock, everybody went and had their parties and people were down the dock. What do you do now? I said, 6 o'clock, everybody went to their parties, and it was paid by probably some of the taxpayer money. I don't know. I'm just surmising. But I'm just saying, if people come out from Pittsburgh or Cleveland just come up to see the boat show and they close at 6 o'clock, that ain't too good.
Okay, no.
Go ahead. You got say whatever you like. We got your open air.
One.
John had one more point, and he was going to get off. He just wanted, and you cut him off.
I didn't cut him off. Actually,
Wait
a minute.
I probably did.
The two of us got into a debate, and
We got into a debate, and he said, I'll call back later.
And you'll call back.
You'll call back.
You went on for 5 minutes with something else, and John had the courtesy to say, okay, I'm going to get off.
Well, actually, we've given you about 7 minutes, and I'm not complaining. I want you to, do you know any other councilman that has opened up himself to debate? Has anybody else come on the air? No. I give you, you can come here and take a shot at me and do anything you want. And I've given you the courtesy. So all I ask from you is give me an example of when you were disappointed, besides the fact that I didn't make it to the courthouse, which I admitted.
Okay, we're listening.
I'm going to let, I said it again and again, anytime there's why don't you look at your tapes and so on? Anytime a person makes even an insinuation against the mayor.
That's not true. I said, give me an example, and I'll either agree with you that you're right.
What do you want, an affidavit?
No, I mean, you got to have one example. Look.
Nothing.
I said in the beginning of each show, I'm not going to take, nobody's going to cut up anybody. I'm not going to have like verbal assaults against councilmen or mayors or anything like that. But you can express your opinion if you're disappointed in them. But I'm not going to have anybody come up here and say that they're an SOB or something like that.
No, but well, wait till he gets off.
Okay,
guy.
But you're welcome. You want to come up here? I'll put you up here with me, and you can argue with me.
I know, basically, I know you're a good guy. I know you're a good guy, but the mayor, I still think you're in the mayor's back pocket.
No. Here's what I want you to do. The next time you feel like I did that, you can call me on the air or off the air and tell me what you think, I said. I have voted against the mayor more times than not. And that's not because I disagree with him. I just don't, I look at the crux of the argument. I didn't vote for the hotel.
That is a big slap in the face.
I mean, I wanted to have some restrictions. I'm trying to think of the one debate where we voted against the mayor and we didn't. We voted against his veto.
And how that comes?
If that didn't upset him, what else? If you think I'm in the mayor's back pocket, why would I override his veto?
I don't know. You're always.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, that's the one thing I got nailed for. Everybody said, geez, the mayor, we voted against him.
Never once, when somebody had a complaint against the mayor, you agreed with the person that had a complaint. You listened and sidestepped it, and this is my observation over the years of your program.
Okay, well, you call me back the next time it happens, and we'll discuss it then, okay?
Mr. Kwiatkowski, I like you. I know you're a decent person, good person, so have a good day.
You too, and I hope he does call me back next time. And John, he'll call back, I know, but
like I say, I hate to bring Kathy down, Catherine. He ain't supposed to be bashing, but she stuck that hotel down the throats of the county and city.
See, that's not
city, and now she's sticking it to people again, raising county taxes. Wait a minute. Mm-hmm. When you hired, it was in the paper 2 weeks before that, didn't she hire 16 people on her staff?
Well, I think she gave raises. I'm not sure.
I thought it was new jobs.
She may have.
And like I said, since she's been in there, not even a year, she screwed the people on that hotel.
Well, I don't like it.
That was a job. How much have they paid on that hotel that's supposed to be making a Sheraton there? How much
have
they
paid? Taxes?
In lieu of taxes? Nothing.
Okay,
how long have they been? They've been, 5, 6 years they've been open?
And they're not going to pay any taxes, either on the new hotel or the parking ramp.
One-time Kathy.
You know there's not going to be any taxes. We knew that, Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, Kaz, if you're available, we're having our meeting tonight.
I got to take my car. So what time is that?
7 o'clock.
I'm probably going to miss that one. I have to take my vehicle somewhere for repair.
Okay.
But if I can get a shot, I'll try to come by there.
Good enough, thanks.
Yeah, hey, you guys all do a good job over there. I'll be back next month for sure.
Good, thanks. We'll see what happened. I guess they had their homecoming this weekend, so we'll get the results of what was happening.
Yeah, I got the email, and it sounded like things were quiet. It was quiet up by my area. It might be because of the rain.
Yeah, the weather, weather had a lot to do with that.
Boy, am I disappointed. As I look around that neighborhood, the amount of houses up for sale.
Oh, 38th Street is terrible.
Yeah, well, you know, a personal friend of mine moved away a little while ago, and I couldn't really stop him. I can't blame him because, like at the foot of my street now, I have what they call a boarding house.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's awful there.
Well, yeah, I mean, all these years, you just never saw it coming. But I was looking the other day on the website, the county, and it was amazing. Now we got. Remember how we had the two landlords?
Yeah.
Now we seem like we got a third one that's entering the fray.
Yeah.
So
There's possibly a fourth.
Yeah, they're starting to get big. And I looked at the holdings. They're going up Pine Avenue, over 38th. I didn't even bother checking 37th, 36th, or 35th yet.
There's a couple streets there that you can't even get through. You have parking on both sides, bumper to bumper.
You know, I was. Did you ever get the Erie Reader?
Yeah.
There was did you get it this month?
I think I did. Yeah.
Read the article by Lisa Austin.
Uh-huh.
It was a one person's opinion. I'd like to get her on here, and I'm sure she'll come on. She was talking about the things we always get concerned about: couches on the sidewalk, why neighborhoods are in decline a little bit. She kind of hinted at that, and it's
Enforcement.
yeah, it's like she said, you wake up and you got cars parked all over, sidewalks.
Going every which way.
You got, the whole problem with dead trees, everything. She's just going through the whole thing about it's a pride thing, And I take a ride around town once in a while, when I got a couple hours free, and you look at the things you see, and I got a picture of a couch laying on top of some guy's roof. And that's been there for 3 months. What do you think people from out of town see when they come here?
And right through that main street.
Yeah, and they're coming down now. They're coming down Pine Avenue, and like Pine Avenue. I was jumping on PennDOT the other day. They haven't even painted the state highways yet.
Did much of paving.
The turning arrows aren't on, and that's not even going to paving yet.
It's amazing that stuff like that is happening and nobody is doing anything about it.
No, I'm going to try to dedicate the rest of my 3 years trying to get involved, like with the sisters and a couple other programs of trying to figure out what the heck is going on. I mean,
The city is doing a nice job on 18th Street. New sidewalks, new.
Well, you got to hand it to the people there because the sisters and some of the Wally Brown with Neighborhood Watch, he's taken under his. They've been actively pursuing. Besides putting pressure on the city, they've been going after grants.
I see you got a lot of grants.
And then the sisters are getting involved on the east side. I see.
Too bad the sisters from Mercy Sisters don't get involved.
I don't know if they're really much. What's the ones that? The ones on 18th Street. Is that the Benedictine sisters? Or?
Yes, I think it is.
Yeah, Sisters of St. Joseph.
Yeah, they're doing a marvelous. And I think they have now adopted the east side as their next mission.
The nuns from Mercyhurst should take a walk through the streets and see what's happening.
Yeah, we need to take back our communities because, when you ride around and you see the stuff that's happening, like 18th Street, I mean, that's a work in progress every day. But,
Yeah, that was at Little Italy.
But they're working at it. I mean,
it's not Little Italy no more.
No, but you know what? They're doing marvelous things, though. It's not perfect yet, but, when they have an empty lot, they have a garden, the sidewalks are getting replaced.
Here in this area.
Yeah, we're going to have to start.
Help us out.
Maybe we could form our own committee,
Well, maybe we'll see you next week or next month.
Yeah, I'll try to get there tonight if some works out good.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Okay.
Have you seen that road on Davison I've been yelling to you about?
I did go
From
up there.
38 all the way down to the end? And you see how it was cut in the middle there? And they laid pipe down there? Who's responsible for that? The city or the water department? They're putting their pipes in.
Sounds like the water department. Go ahead, caller.
2 quick things.
Okay, that guy was looking forward to come back on, so.
Yeah, well, I won't comment.
Well, no, I like him because you know what? I used to get accused of giving you too much airtime. Now I'm accused of not giving you any airtime, right?
That's a fallacy, but the Bayfront walkway.
Yeah.
I know that it was before the zoning board, and they found my buddy Ed Kissel. They said he was living in a daydream world.
Well, I looked at. Well, I won't cut you off because I did look at that. But I took a ride down there, John.
And what was your opinion? The walkway.
Well, technically, if you looked at it the way it's supposed to be, they broke the law. Okay.
That's exactly.
I think what they tried to do, and this is where I think, when people do things, even and they may be good, that what they had in mind may have been, let's say, even though it stretched what they did.
They were looking for something permanent where they wouldn't have to have any maintenance.
And I think they should have worked with they like one of the things we told. We tried to tell the convention center, and we told it came up with about Mr. Kennedy's property with the sidewalk.
Yes.
We told the engineering department that, and I think majority council kind of agrees with me, that we want to be on things a little bit more. We don't want to be the last rung on the ladder.
Well, that's true.
And then
the walkway.
Yeah.
How much is this walkway toll on the taxpayer? Now, I know, is that a...
Wait a minute, what'd you say? Hang on 1 second, John.
How much is this walkway costing?
Well, the convention center did the walkway.
The convention center put in the walkway, they're probably using state and federal monies.
Yeah, and the problem is when you
tax money.
I think where Eddie got mad about it. Have you seen it, John?
Yes, it's too narrow.
Yeah, it splits is what the problem is.
And the baseball cobbleheads that are cemented, they're an accident waiting to happen.
John, when I looked at it, even though they broke the law, I said, I understood, well, even though they broke what I think the intent of what the ordinance was,
right.
I could live with the way they did it, with
the 6-foot walk.
With the benches and all that, how they integrated them in.
Benches.
I don't like I'm definitely with Ed on this part. I don't like those pebbles they put in. Half of them are loose already.
They're baseballs.
Well, yeah, kids are going to pick the ones up that are loose and start flinging them.
He's going to break an ankle and hurt themselves. A baby's going to fall.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. And, we had the same argument when Dave Brennan and the rest of us voted on that little parkway we want near the new hotel.
Yes.
The whole thing is it's not only summer access, it's about winter access. People, ice fishermen use that. People don't want to walk on the bay. But it's also a matter of safety. If you have to get down to the water, when you looked at where they had these safety ladders and all that, it wasn't real clear. Now, if you had to go in now I'm not a good swimmer or anything, but
you can't even walk to the water off of those cobblestones.
No, and you want to make it. If something happens, you want ease of, what do you call it? I mean, it's a tough call either way because you're dealing with.
That's true.
But you know what? I think that the problem is, and maybe you'll agree, John. There's a lack of dialogue. I mean,
that's the problem with everybody down there. Dialogue.
I mean, I'm going to start looking at things a little close because I'm noticing things like
in the benches, all they are is a couple of slabs.
Yeah.
The concrete slabs. They're not even a bench. I couldn't even sit down and let my tush relax.
Well, I was down there with a person that was handicap challenged. And, he was addressing some issues to me. I had to agree with him. But like I told him, I said, I don't know what the final plan's going to look like because they're going to move some of those, the parking lot that Eddie talked about, the 6 or 8 spaces that are open to the public.
Yes.
They always have to be open. They're not on Civic Center property. They're off on the side. So if there's an event going on.
The landing.
Yeah,
they have that for the ship there.
And yeah, here's the thing,
parking in the concession stand, and they're all private parking.
And I felt bad for this guy because John, I don't know how he could get his wheelchair to the public walkway. Right now, it's bad for him. I hope in the final design, this is where we got to watch, is that the parking lot is accessible to the walkway. For people
down there shortly, maybe she'll straighten things out.
Yeah, he even said to me, he said, and I never thought about this, and maybe I'm making too much out of. Sometimes they say you're making too much of it, but they have it. It looks like a boardwalk there, right?
Yes.
Well, for a wheelchair, that's not a big deal, and it's not a big,
No ADA accessible.
it's not a big deal for a wheelchair. They can do it. But a walker, and I all of a sudden realize a walker is a little more of a challenge.
Right.
So what did you find out about the parking spaces they're building down here on 38th Street? Did they get a permit? Somebody had to waive that.
I'm still waiting for the answer. I put a formal request in. What I did find out, you're talking about that boarding house, right?
More or less, that whole area down there.
Yeah, I'm going to,
12 cars there the other day.
yeah, I'm looking to see, I have a request into the engineering department, and I'm going to check it when the show's over here, see if they got me my answer yet.
All right, one other
I kind of think, John, between you and I don't think the request was put in.
So, well, maybe I ought to get a right to know. When does the on-off parking start? October 1st or November 1st? I see all kinds of cars parked up by the Vets Hospital and
Yeah.
no parking. From 38th Street all the way up to 42nd Street.
Yeah,
On both sides of the...
Perry Highway.
Yeah, I'm trying to, I'm not sure, John. I'll have to, you want me to go check on the side?
That's right. I just was wondering because they're parked all over there, and I guess Mr. Massing isn't sending his troopers up that way.
We're actually going to be meeting with Mr. Massing shortly.
Because, you know, the Vet Hospital, I know people work
Yeah.
there, but they are no better than me, John Q. Citizen.
Where do you say they're parking on,
38th and Old French, all the way up to 42nd and Old French, both sides of the road.
okay.
That's during they have their new construction going on up there.
I think that's a state highway too, so I got to check on it.
Still in the city.
Oh, yes, well, yeah, it is, but I'm saying, I want to see how it's, is it posted no parking, John?
Posted no parking from areas going all the way up.
Okay, well,
Near the corner and all that.
What-
Both sides of the street.
well, one of the things that did come up, you know I'm liaison to the parking authority.
Well, the whole thing here is I understand they're
Yeah.
doing all that construction, but these people should have more consideration for the traffic coming up and down.
Well, I agree with you, and as liaison, I remember I brought up to him about some of the things we talked about with the people on Briggs Avenue and stuff,
Yes.
and he admits he has a lack of people to do this.
Yes.
And so he's going to be meeting with council in a near future.
Well,
And that's one of the things that, I'm not cutting you off, I'm just telling you that that's one of the things that we have on our list. And I'm going to ask him about what it would take, whether we have to, work with him somehow to get him the financial means necessary to staff that full-time like they used to.
that's true. And as far as that goes, you ought to meet with the state to get a left turning signal lane on the 38th Street going east.
What,
I mean going west. I'm
38th and what, Pine?
sorry. Pine Avenue.
I brought that, John, that's amazing. I brought that up to our traffic engineer. And she claims that they done studies on it, and they say it doesn't warrant it. And I'm going,
Tell her to go there and sit there someday and try and go through her.
it's not hers. I mean, I'm not defending her. That's a state highway, okay?
Yes.
And they will, we'll put the request in, but they'll be the final judge. And I think I got to meet with Pat Harkins.
Well, the whole thing here is that bank, PNC now has the bank there.
Yeah.
Suppose they're one off of Page Street, and you're going to see a lot of accidents happen up there, especially in the winter.
At 38th and Page?
No, it's Pine Avenue, 38th and Pine
Well,
Avenue.
I told her, I think the biggest problem with when the state studied this, I imagine they studied it in the summer, okay?
Could be.
And that's the wrong time to study it because, like right now, those of us who live on that side, well, you take any place, take Peach Street. It's busier at Christmas time than it is during the rest of the year, right?
That's true.
And yet they took that into consideration when they built, all those bypasses up there. But with the college kids back, they come back, they come back in September, and that's when they should be doing the count, like right now in the fall.
That's true.
Yeah, take that way, you got that bar there, right?
Yes, corner bar. You got CV.
Busy as heck,
You got Arby's on the other corner.
right? CVS, Tim Hortons,
Got like it's a 5 corner intersection.
right, and you got Tim Hortons there, and then when you compound that with the morning traffic, you get all the people coming into the city,
Coming in and
the evening, right, and then you get college kids add their own level of transportation. She agreed with me, but I think my job is going to be, we'll have to get council to put a formal request in, and then I'm going to have to work with probably Pat Harkins and, Sean Wiley and them and try to see what it would take to put a little pressure on PennDOT because.
You had to bring Kurt Sonny in too. Let's go bipartisan.
Yeah, I think you're right. Anybody, I look at it all the time and I go, I can't believe we don't have a turning arrow there.
Right, you got one going the other way, coming north and south.
Yeah, we got to. I mean, that whole intersection really needs to be looked at. I mean, because at times.
They come flying down there on ice.
Okay, I'll hang up.
Hey, you got anything more, John?
Oh, that's it.
Hey, thanks for calling.
Okay.
So getting back to that Davison, now what's going on with that? I live above 38, it doesn't bother me, but when you go down there, it's bad. It's been 3-4 years maybe. Last year, I think they did from heading to the gas
Did they
station.
pave it, part of it?
From the gas station up to 38. That one little area, maybe 100 feet.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey there, Kaz.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, I'm listening to all your wonderful conversation about this area here. You mentioned you'll be going to the liaison for the parking authority. Is that open to any public attendance too?
You mean the meetings?
Yeah.
Sure, they are. I can get you the list. I'll get you the dates and times.
I wouldn't mind attending some of them to see what's going on.
Yeah, nobody. It's amazing. This is why I tell the public. Very few people ever attend board meetings of authorities, and they are allowed to now. Sometimes they do have most of them allow the public to, speak, and a lot of them are dry. I mean, you're going to go there and you're not going to understand what's going on, because a lot of it is, that's why they're not ready for the public a lot of times. So you have to ask for minutes and. But yeah, Doc, you remember when we worked there? How remember how quiet they were?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, nobody goes, but. You're welcome. If you want to ride, I'll take you down.
Well, I would like to do that because even my wife has noticed they've gotten quite lax in some of the parking, on the side streets and that. They're double parking and all that, and wondering why isn't that being enforced. And I know the police are involved with all their other crimes. They don't have time to.
Yeah, the police have kind of turned over
All that kind of stuff.
parking violations to the parking authority. He's, I'm not defending him, but he doesn't have the manpower. Do you remember when they had the red and blue cars?
Yeah.
You were there, I think. I was gone, but they had the red and blue cars where the blue cars were center city and the red cars covered the outside.
Correct. They did have different colored cars for that.
And those were gradually pulled because they weren't generating the problems that, so then they thought they could cut back on manpower, but somebody's got to pay for it. So whether it's an increased parking rates or what, but we are going to meet with him about the outlying areas, the problems that exist.
Well, see, I'm wondering if we need, I don't know if it could help to have some kind of citizen patrol created, like if the lack of police enforcement, maybe at least I know we got those neighborhood watches.
Yeah, they don't like to give them any power though, but.
Yeah, you give one of them guys a gun, they're going to start shooting,
But, the problem is, I think the parking authority, they're deputized to give out tickets.
Oh, they are. They're under the same rules as the police departments are, under the same protectives, law-wise.
But I think, it's good if, some of the people start expressing what they'd like to see, because I brought it up with Ray Massing that, I think, especially, I'm not saying my area is different than other areas, but with the college kids that have moved into a lot of the areas now, the parking situation is getting out of hand. You turn corners and you get traffic on both sides. How a fire truck would get up some of these side streets, Briggs Avenue comes to mind all the time, but people, if they had a fire there, how would you get what would you do?
It's awkward trying to get around. I'm glad I'm not a driver anymore, but still, it's just, I can tell that there's a lot of irritation by people trying to figure out why is the city going the way it is.
Well, you know what it is, Doc, and I'm not making any excuses, but the police today are challenged with some big problems, and the little things are starting to slide, and it's not their fault. It's if you listen every night, you got shots fired or. Today you had 10-year-old kids picked up for armed robbery. I mean, it goes on and on. That
How many do we have police officers on the books right now?
I think about 100. Don't quote me, about 180 or 190.
What was it about? before the mayor got in there. When Flippy was in there.
They cut during the Flippy era.
We have had higher number of police.
And most of them were subsidized by state. I think Lou Tullio, when he had state subsidies, he was well over 200 and some.
He was.
But you know what? In those days, and we've cut back now, we don't have like juvenile separately. We don't have auto theft separate. They're merged with the detectives now, so they cut back.
There's so many detectives. If you look around town, all you see is gold badges everywhere. I never seen so many
Well,
detectives.
they're busy too. I mean, but you know, everybody's got a job and they're all double shifting. But I always said this, and I still feel we have to find a way to get more policemen on the street.
Right, more
And-
on the street instead of in the office.
And maybe the nonprofits have to come through with a little bit of money to start funding some extra, cars out there. When you get what's going on now in the city, you can't blame them if they got gunfire, robbery, something like that. To come over there for a noise violation or for parking, it's just, it's so low on the totem pole. But that's where we're at now. But I am going to take a ride around. I've hooked it up. I just got to find a time. I'm going to go ride around one night with a police officer and see what they,
I don't know if the parking authority, people are sworn in as police constables yet. Remember, Tullio we were sworn in as police constables.
Yeah, but you didn't. You're not. We have an arrangement with Gannon that a parking authority can't make arrests or anything. I don't believe. But the Gannon Police Department has full police powers within their campus area.
In their campus area.
They can pull you over for a traffic violation. I checked into this. I was surprised. Mercier's doesn't. I'm not sure about Erie Insurance or like St. Vincent's Police, but Gannon Police for sure have the right to pull you over within their campus area, or they can take care of crimes, and they do work closely with the police department, and they are armed. They're a police department. I don't know whether that exists for like St. Vincent's or Hammett, Erie Insurance. For sure I know Mercer's doesn't go off campus. So, yeah, Gannon's one of those unique situations, Doc, that you talk about. But I don't think the parking authority has that police powers, because they're not armed, number one.
You know what the one biggest guy, that buy with the animal enforcement officer. He doesn't carry a gun.
Well,
and the mace, it doesn't affect.
No, there was a decision made that he's not going to carry a pistol.
That's correct.
When was this? I brought up to the chief last year.
There have been council has at times looked into it and made recommendations, but it's ultimately up to the chief of police and
You only
the
have
mayor.
one person coming in. Like last year, he come into back of a house, there's two pit bulls, knocked him down.
Well, I think they feel, I'm not speaking for them because I don't know the reason. I do know that previous councils have done it, where they've asked a question why he's not armed, and
He's a regular officer, right?
I have to plead ignorance.
I don't think he's a regular police officer, but he is hired for animal protection.
Yeah, but when you got two pit bulls knocking you down, where you tear your face
Because
off.
he doesn't have a pistol, and that's a...
I told all you got to send him to school.
I don't think, I don't speak for Robbie, because, his comments, his personal comments are his. He has to work for a living. I don't know about the present chief. I haven't asked him specifically about this. Previous chiefs and mayors didn't want him armed.
Well,
okay?
I talked to him last year, the mayor and everybody last year, and
Yeah,
not our mayor, new one, but I talked to the chief, and they wanted to take him, send him to school.
Well, he would have
Weapons.
to. He would have to. That's,
Get him certified, then he'd be able to carry. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
What do you think there?
but I think-
I think they could give this some schooling, because there are different ways of collecting the animals in a more humane way sometimes, rather than the police having to shoot them all the time.
yeah, he would need a, I know when he needs backup, many times the officers have to come in and put the bullet,
Yeah, but
take,
here's these two pit bulls jumping all over, and everybody
Well, he's
takes his
been-
face off, and luckily there's a motorcycle.
you'll get an
shot
argument from
him.
me. He's been chewed up a lot.
So like I said, I think the city council should sit down with the mayor and the chief and say what they can do to get this guy a gun. Send them to school. and
Well,
everything.
school have to be.
Right. Now, does these officers, they go to school, don't they, when they take their test?
Sure, everybody has to have that, well, right now, before you take the test, you have to have that, something, whatever the number is, training, so you go to Mercier's,
Right.
you take that course, and that's all, but anybody carries a weapon, you know, that has, you know, ability of being a, you know, security officer, otherwise, they have to have that training. That's my recognition, my recollection of the comments I've had with policemen. That, you know, that's why Mercier's doesn't have them, but Gannon does. They chose to arm their officers.
Yeah, well, they have a schooling and everything up there.
Well, most of them are ex-policemen too, that, you know.
I have to commend him because if you look at some cities, they actually have two people on duty when they go to take care of an animal because, you know, sometimes you need to corral the animal and it takes two people to do that.
Yeah, it's a matter of funding, and that's what it comes down
Like I
to.
said,
And
this guy, you know,
they only have one man on one shift, and that's
it. That's the only.
when his shift is done.
You get down the Lower East Side, West Side, you got these pet bulls, and they're ready to eat you up.
Yeah. Well, even like now, you got the season when other animals such as skunks and even deer in the city are starting to roam, and what do you do with there?
Well, here's a good problem. I talked to Robbie about. I believe I had a woodchuck under my storage shed, and late Jimmy Thompson, remember his go around, because of the Commonwealth laws. You know, there's only two ways you can dispose of them. Now, you can shoot at them, which is illegal in the city, okay? Or you have to, drown them, I think. No, I mean, it's serious. I even talked to a game officer. Doc, you've been a hunter before me, and the Commonwealth has some weird laws about this, but the trouble is, like, you're not allowed to trap, technically. You have to call a trapper in.
That's correct. Yeah.
So you have to pay a guy, and whether he sets, I forget what he charges you.
That's about $100, but you got to pay it whether he catches it or not.
Right, just to set the trap. And if a cat crawls in there, you still got to pay him to reset it.
There was an officer, you probably know who it is, about 15 years ago, he was an officer, and they had a dog barking 2-3 hours after the curfew.
Yeah.
He went over, talked nice to the guy, hey, I want the dog to be in the house, I want no noise. So next 2-3 nights, he just let him out and bark, bark, bark. So he had enough of that, he shot the dog. You know what I'm talking about.
I remember that.
You probably remember who that is, right? He just passed away.
Yeah, Doc, I got 5 deer in my backyard. Now, I'm not allowed to hunt them, right?
Yeah.
Well, what do you do? I mean, Robbie doesn't,
No, you don't.
he's not allowed to do it either by state law, so what do, you know?
Well, the only thing you can do is they do make some repellents that you can spread out in your yard or...
But then they just go to another neighbor's yard, right?
Go next door.
Yeah, when they tore down behind Grandview, Kmart Grandview, that's when I got the 5 deer.
Oh, right behind you when he took them.
Yeah, 5. I saw 5 one night, not to mention woodchucks, skunks.
I used to see them all the time there on Marion Street. They'd walk right down, 5 or 6 of them. Now they got that water tank between Marion and Davison, and they cleaned all that out. Now I don't see them.
There are certain people in the city, and I won't tell you who they are, but they have used one of the Commonwealth's preferred methods, even though it's illegal.
What's that? They shoot them, huh?
Yeah. I mean, you can't condone it, but you know it's happened.
Oh,
I found one on the street one day that you could see it was definitely plugged.
uh-huh.
It wasn't hit, it was plugged.
And it's plugged.
Well, yeah, we need to come up with some ways to deal with these problems that are more, appropriate for the city because...
Well, I think a city, I kind of agree with you about one thing, and it's not, maybe council can do it, but, under our form of government, the mayor has the power.
The mayor has all the power.
And so, I think a citizens committee would be a great idea that, where you bring people in with, to solve the problem with what's wrong with the city, we have to, I'm not saying we don't know it, but the people that live in the areas all have unique problems. Some are common to all areas, but not all of them. You may have a problem in your area, like mine is around college kids. Yesterday at St. Stan's, I was talking to a couple of people, and their problem is loitering, drugs, and, I've had a lot of people now want us to address the loitering issue.
Just like St. Pat's.
Yeah, I mean, there you go, that led to, some gentleman taking his life, but, you don't want to be mean, but you know what? You can't have people just hanging around anymore. People know their neighborhoods, and people know when somebody doesn't belong there. You just know it. You feel it. You know it. Like, what was I hearing about this morning? That they arrested some 10-year-old kids for armed robbery.
Yeah, some old lady coming from church. And
yeah, and she got, you can't have that. That's starting to get to be, that's not the exception anymore.
the cities better start doing something with kids.
Well, neighbors have to start, and this is where I agree with Doc. Neighbors have to start, and like that woman we talked with earlier, the neighbors have to start taking back
The community.
Yeah, the neighborhood watches. And we all got to support them. Because we're all,
now there's a new nuisance bar by, the old Jimmy's Tavern.
I turned that one in.
It's been 5 months. I've been after a lot of people here. No one seems to care.
Oh, I did turn it in again.
Yeah, but
I know.
the guy lives next door to a real nice man, and
He called me.
the guy is really nice. He calls up the police department, nothing done. But when the trucks are going by at 10 o'clock at night, semis, they're throwing empty beer bottles at him, and he lives right next door.
And there's
shells on the ground. He's afraid that the bullets will go through the wall and he'll just kill him or his wife.
And there's some other activities, supposedly.
Oh, I know there is going on there. So I think we should sit down. That should be number one on the east side right now. Focus on that.
We need to get people to come forward, too, instead of trying to keep your nose out of it.
Well, there's a fear out there, and, sometimes I don't condone it, but you can't blame some people because if we can't protect them when they give honest testimony, if they perceive that they can't, it's tough for someone to, when they don't have the support of the entire community.
Well, I think the Mill Creek Mall just proved one thing. If we got cameras capturing some of this, it makes it easier to pinpoint it to what particular individual or group of individuals.
Yep, you were lucky there, but what do you do in some neighborhoods where, like in my neighborhood, there's no cameras I know of. Okay? I mean, you're not near a store or, that's the problem. Like downtown, you got, you'd be surprised how many cameras there are downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Between Gannon, between courthouse, between private enterprises, businesses, banks, all that. So, police have an array of things, but what do you do in some of these neighborhoods where, unless somebody catches it on camera, there are no cameras,
Well, maybe the city needs to maybe look at, like they're planning out smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors.
Well, there is
in some areas of high risk, some camera systems.
Well, there is actually two things that I think they've talked about. They're looking, there's always funding sources is a problem. There is a gunshot, what is that thing? It picks up gunshots and triangulates the, approximate location of them. That's been done in some communities, but a lot of communities like Lancaster, Chicago, I've seen them, but that's a big city. But Lancaster, closer to home, they have these cameras set up where they're monitored by volunteers, and they're put in high crime area, risk areas.
That's what we should do up there. On the east
And
side.
that may happen, but that's a matter of funding always.
Are you all done or what?
Well, we're getting close. Hey, Doc, they're going to kick us off here.
Oh, okay, you take care of your Kaz, and let me know when you're heading down for the parking authority.
Yeah, I'll call you next meeting, because if you want, I'll give you a ride down there. I'm sure they'd like to see you anyway, but,
I don't want to scare them that bad.
Yeah, we worked together down there years ago.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's how our friendship started.
Yep.
All right, you guys take care. It's good to listen to you guys talking. You're on top of things, Kaz.
Okay, I got to tell everybody I'm not going to be on the air next week unless somebody wants to run the show. I got to be out of town on family business, so.
Well, God bless your family, dear.
Yeah, they're all separated, they're all over the place, so. Unfortunately, next Monday I'll be off the air. I hate, so you'll be seeing reruns, so if you see them, you know why. And then we'll try to get Mike to post something. Unless somebody wants to run the show, they're welcome.
All right.
Okay, take care. God bless you.
Hint, hint.
Take care.
We'll see you. I'll tell you off the air, but he's an old friend of mine. But Ron, it's always good. Hey, we didn't get to talk much, but.
Hey, we got a few things started.
But yeah,
We got that one guy a little upset, but.
Well, he's right. Like I told him, he's allowed his opinion, and
Right.
I don't see anybody else wants to have the show, so.
I think people just don't care anymore.
Well, no,
Like
I mean,
said,
I don't
like,
see
for
any.
instance, I hate to be like a sound like a brook. The guy coming up here to talk, guy's bleeding his heart out, and city council look at him like he's a dummy. You seen how I act up there? I got teed off.
I'm not saying
We gotta change that. We see if some way.
the trouble is it could degenerate rather quickly.
But no, we can try it. You
I
can
think
try
that,
it for
I would
a
agree
month or
that
two.
what they can do, though, is they can say, look, I want an answer, and you already got it out publicly, okay? You do like Mr. Barnes does. I want a response.
Is that the one that I'm talking
No,
about?
I don't think so. He asked for, he'll ask individually, I want an answer from you. I'm going to contact you. And then you come back next week and say, hey, you know what? The councilman didn't answer me, okay? But to have debate, sometimes that degenerates rather quickly. And then what happens is after the person leaves, and this is where I kind of agree with what the other gentleman said, after you leave the mic, you're done. Now, if they allow it, we're going to get the last word and they say, oh, this way it is. And that's not right, okay? What you need to do is say, look, I want an answer. I'm going to send you a request. The council, but you specifically, because you're liaison or whatever, or you're the person I had the argument with, that,
I
talk
guess
with.
we got to get rid of these congressmen and senators out of here.
But I agree, I think there's a way of doing it.
There's a new kid on the block, and I think the people better get on there with his wagon and start riding it.
But if anybody wants an answer, feel free to contact your councilman. Put a request in formally.
Now, like I said, I hate to bang on one-time Kathy, but she's been jazzing the people in this county. I see when all this stuff comes down.
She did say one thing that made sense, though.
What'd she say? That would be your first one.
This is a flat county.
Flat country. Yeah.
What that means is,
Yeah, I know what it means.
like I've said in this program, we are not gaining any population.
Why is that?
That's the million-dollar question.
Like I
And
said, now me, I'm
We have to-
retired. I worked 42 years at Zerns.
Ron, we have to
and
get,
now I got time to help.
see, here's the thing. We want, everybody talks the same talk. We got to figure out how to get people to move into Erie County. What's happening now is
Yeah,
that,
but you're bucking the system here in Erie. Erie wants this to be a tourist town. Now, how many people were down there at the Civic, How many's down there at the Bayfront Convention Center? I mean, what's going on? There's nothing going on. You get 3-4 months of the year. This was the worst year for the
conventions
weather.
are, all that's fine, but we have to figure out how to get the center of the city, okay? How do we get people back in there? And how do we strengthen the city?
Well, why don't we see if we can get somebody to bring a show down there? You got enough restaurants downtown, okay?
Yeah.
Try and get a show or something to bring the people, draw the people to come
That's
down.
good. I'm full for it, but long range, we got to get industry back here. We got to create, like, one of the good stories is that potato factory.
Well,
Okay.
that's the best thing.
But we need more of that. We need to figure out, how do we get back to where we used to be?
We
When,
never do it here. There's too many.
But
There's
you
a lot
remember-
of jobs in here. Machinist job. Kids don't want to work. There's a lot of jobs.
yeah, but then we'll bring them in from out of town. When I was a kid, the people that came here came from other cities to get the jobs.
Get the jobs.
And then they lived here, and they created the community we know of today. But you look at today, you got big gaps, okay? Everybody's moving out. They're not even moving to Mill Creek as much now. They're moving further out. So we have to figure out, and Mill Creek's gonna have the same problem we are. So how do we grow the
When we
county?
were growing up, these shops were here, and okay, your father got you a job at Stairs or Kaiser, and then everybody was generation after generation. So what happens? They move out of Erie.
We have to just solve that
What
problem.
can we do to keep them here? What kind of tax purpose? Is that 10-year LERTA program still in effect here?
At targeted areas, I think now.
Target? Well,
And
like I said, the one on 12th Street when Rick wanted to move GAF down there. He got 50 million, that's federal and state aid, and 50 acres. Joe comes in, he goes, oh, I can't give you that. I'll give you 25 acres and 25 million. Well, we got to have the 50 because we're going to hire another 200 people.
See, we also got members like,
200, I would have gave them a job number of 400 people working there.
We also
Good
got-
sustaining jobs.
we also got to keep the businesses happy that are here now. Like the Smith's Provisions.
Well, they put a ton of money in there.
and they're getting bigger. You know, what happens if they grow their product past Pittsburgh like they're doing now, or,
Oh, they're all over them.
I mean, they're all over Pittsburgh now, using that. If that market develops, okay, do they build the hot dogs down, do they do the hot
Do it
dogs
here,
down there?
down
Or
there.
do them here? We want them to do it up here.
Well, you'd have to sit down with them.
And that's why I don't think sometimes we keep the things we have here happy. You know, like when you're insurance, no matter how you feel about them, they made a big decision to stay in the city.
That's big money. No, they're getting any debatements.
They're getting help,
Yeah, they're getting what 10-year lawyer. They probably.
but when they're done with it, they haven't moved out of town and run away.
No, they put
okay.
a lot of money at Civic Center.
They also, they put money, that way too, but their investment in their parking ramp, their campus thing, when they built their headquarters, I think those lawyers are gone. But you didn't see them like pick up and move.
No.
Now they're paying taxes and they're creating more jobs. That's what we want to see.
Now, Lecom, here they're buying but they're in Mill Creek, majority of it, okay? They're buying everything. See that priest right across the street from Lecom?
Yeah.
Boy, I didn't even know what's going on. He said they gave us such a price we had to sell the church to them, and they did.
But it's not necessarily a bad thing because, you grow that campus, all right?
It was tax-free, isn't it?
But then you would hope that the things around are developed that are taxable, okay? This is what you hope that, like you take East 38th Street, St. Luke's, Mercyhurst, VA Hospital, it's all tax exempt.
Right.
Okay? You need to work off them to figure out, what can you develop around there?
Around it.
Can you keep their people living around the area? Can you?
Like I said, Erie's got to get off this kick of making this the resort area. I mean, you got too many people, the average workman now are retiring, me, you, we're retired now, and taxes just keep on going up.
We better, Mike's gonna kill us.
Hey, Mike, are we overdue? Hey, Mike, are you still there?
You'll be back in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah,
Or something like that, or?
yeah.
Come back, we'll continue conversation.
We done? Oh. Boy, quarter after.
Well, with that, we better say goodbye.
Say goodbye and nice
And
talking
once
to
again,
people.
we won't be on the air next week.
Right, we're off next week. Maybe. Okay.
Yeah, you're welcome, come back if you want.
Hey, Dad.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Taxpayers Hotline Show on Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9.